Executive Director of Connecticut Farmland Trust, and I just wanted to welcome you all here this evening. And it's a tough act to follow, the Stonington Scallops, but I wanted to give you a little introduction before our next course. So I wanted to first off thank all of the farmers that are on your menu. You'll see on your menu the different Connecticut farms that our dinner came from, and specifically we have a gentleman here. Right there. Gary Proctor, who's with Gourmet Avian Farms, who's going to be supplying our chicken, who's going to be coming up at our next course. So thank you very much. And I learned also the deviled eggs, except not the pesto, I guess.
Ellen Rachel is also
And you should model your shirt.
marketing guru. And
Can you stand up and model your shirt?
Tell us about the glasses.
It's an intelligent chick. I told her hands down I'd trade outfits. Somebody asked me the other day how I got into this work, and it's really quite simple. I'm very passionate about land conservation. I protected my family's property about 7 years ago in Ohio, and it was a very tumultuous, arduous task. There was poor estate planning, and the property was going to go from one person to anywhere from between 2 to 5, and it was very definitely going to be lost by development. It was very highly threatened, and it was going to be lost. And fortunately, I was able to coerce my mother into protecting it, and it'll now be permanently protected and will not be threatened by development. And there won't be issues with my cousins and my brothers down the line when my mother dies and we have to settle her estate. So from that, it's probably the greatest joy of my job is working with other families to help them protect their farms from development. And we've worked with 31 families to protect their farms. We've protected over 2,500 acres, and it's been an absolute joy. And one of the reasons that some of the farms that you see on your table, I don't know if they have the acreages on them, but a number of the farms, you're sitting at a farm that we protected. And the majority of the ones that you see that we protected are properties that are smaller, that would have not been protected by any other conservation groups, not by the state, the federal agencies, but also local land trusts and towns. So many of the farms that you're sitting at wouldn't have been protected without Connecticut Farmland Trust. So I have a farmer here who I've guilted into coming here this evening to talk about his experience of working with Connecticut Farmland Trust. So Dick and Sally protected their farm, was it 2004 and 2005? So it's protected in 2 phases because it was under 2 different ownerships. It's a total of 19 acres. And so those of you who are from Hamden or anywhere close to Hamden, most of the time people don't believe that there actually is any farmland in Hamden, and yet there is one of the first protected farms through the state. How big is Hindenburg? Is it over 200?
The Lockwood Farm?
Hindenburg.
I'm not sure.
So one of the first farms protected through the state is in Hamden, but then also Dick and Sally's property, which is Humphrey Evergreen Farms, is in Hamden. And he's going to talk a little bit about their decision to protect their property. He's rolling his eyes at me. And, but one of Dick and Sally you may know from Broken Arrow Nursery. For those of you who are horticulturalists or gardeners, these are the Broken Arrow people. And we protected their property, which is the sister property, which is where they grow all of their Christmas trees. So also, if anybody's gone and cut a Christmas tree in Hamden, you've probably gone and cut it at their property. And one of my favorite stories about Dick and Sally is right after they were married, Dick went to his very new father-in-law and said, "Do you mind if I go grow a couple Christmas trees?" And the property's now covered in Christmas trees. So Dick.
Gotta watch out for those son-in-laws. My father-in-law, he was a very generous guy. He loved to mow. He was a Vermonter at heart. Grew up in Vermont. But, I like mowed lawns, but I like them better if they're planted to, some farm crop. And my crop back then was Christmas trees, so, hey, we all love open space. Delighted that you folks are here and your support for it. And I would say that if any of you own land, have friends that own land, think about what's going to happen to it. Talk about it with family, whoever's involved. Every situation is different, every family's different, but if you don't talk about it, it ain't going to happen. You know, there are challenges, but in our case, my father-in-law had set up a family corporation and had deeded his house and 13, 14 acres to the family corporation. The shareholders were my wife, her two brothers, the spouses, and now many of the children of those folks. Actually, there's only about 10 shareholders. So obviously I was growing Christmas trees on this land and really wanted to keep it as open space. And by this time, 10 years ago, Big Humphrey had passed away, but we knew he would like to have kept it as open space. So it took a couple of years, but at our annual meetings of the family corporation, I said, well, what do you folks think about, you know, giving up the development rights? And we knew of this new organization, Connecticut Farmland Trust, and of all the different outfits that were around that could be the trustee for land. This sounded like a good one from my perspective. It had farm in it. And I worried that some of the folks, some of the family members, especially younger ones, had no interest in the land, in the farm. They'd just see dollar signs at some point. Land values kept going up. Zoned for quarter-acre lots, and that would mean 50 houses on this little piece of land. Anyway, we got unanimous decision to go ahead and work with Elisabeth and Connecticut Farmland Trust. They did pay for all the cost, lawyers, surveys, kinds of things that go on with such a transaction. But it's worked out. I don't think any of us have had any regrets. And it's kind of nice, you know, whether I'm mowing into Christmas trees or doing other things, to realize that it's going to be at least open space and hopefully farms for many years to come. So if you see opportunities, work at it, work with Elisabeth, Connecticut Farmland Trust. Thank you. I'll be around.